Good evening. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. I just pray that you were able to join in with us in our worship service this morning. And again, I would continue to remind you that if you missed that service this morning, or if you'd like to go back and watch it again for that matter, or if you'd like to share that with someone else, those services are always on our Facebook page. And as I have said in the past, you do not have to have a Facebook account in order to view those. In order to view those videos, you can just go and do a search and come up and just refuse to make an account, scroll down the page and watch those videos. And again, if you need help with that, just reach out to me and I'll do my best. I've made a video on that sometime in the past, so I'll be glad to try to help you with that. I think it's a blessing and it's a wonderful offering, and we just plan to continue right on with streaming our services even after everything is. If we can wipe COVID out, we'll still be sending the gospel out on the internet, Lord willing. We were doing that before the COVID, and we hope to continue to do that as well. And also remind you that not only is our services on there, but also our class that starts at 10:15 is also streamed live now on Sunday mornings. So you can watch that as well. So all those things are available. I hope you'll take advantage of it. We got some cleaning up done around the building on Saturday. We probably still have some more things that need to be done. A lot of the lights, Gary Cassidy and some others maybe worked on, I know Gary worked on getting a lot of the light bulbs changed, and we cleaned some things up. And I'm going to start being on you quite a bit again. I don't mean that to sound like I'm going to be fussing on you, I guess, but I'm going to be encouraging you to invite people to church. We are coming up on our summer series, and I feel like we've got a lot of good speakers. Our VBS is just around the corner, and I hope and pray that we'll be back in action as we had been before 2020 rolled around. So all those things are things that I want you to keep in mind. Now, as far as the devotional thought goes for this evening, I came across a very encouraging article this past week. It was a story that someone had shared from the Civil War, and I'd like to share that story with you this evening. So here's how it goes. After the first day of fierce fighting in the Civil War Battle of Fredericksburg, hundreds of Union soldiers lay crying on the battlefield, wounded and bleeding. All through the night and most of the next day, artillery fire prevented their relief. Yet all that time, their agonized cries went up, "Water, water." And finally, a noble Southern sergeant, Richard Kirkland, rose above his love for life and told his General Kershaw, "I can't stand this any longer. Those poor souls out there have been praying and crying all night and all day, and it's more than I can bear. I ask your permission to go and give them water." The general pondered for a moment, and he said, "But you know, as soon as you show yourself to the enemy, you'll be shot." "Yes, sir, I know it," he answered. "But to carry a little comfort to those poor dying men, I'm willing to run the risk." The general hesitated, but his heart was also touched with a sympathy over the suffering soldiers. "Kirkland, it's sending you to your death, but I cannot oppose such a motive as yours. I hope God will protect you. Go." So the brave soldier, furnished with a supply of water, stepped over the stone rampart and began his work of Christ-like mercy. Wondering eyes watched as he knelt by the nearest sufferer, tenderly raised his head and held the refreshing cup to his parched lips. Every soldier in the Union line understood his tender mission, and not a single shot was fired. For over an hour, one after another of the crying, wounded, and dying was given a refreshing drink, and his cramped or mangled limbs straightened, his head cushioned on a knapsack, and was covered with his coat or blanket as tenderly as though by his own mother. Now, what an inspiring story. I would ask you this evening, if you were in such a position as this Southern sergeant, would you have the courage to go over the lines and to go out on the field, risking your own life to give someone just a drink of water in order to comfort them in their last moments? Would you have the courage to do such a thing as that? Well, I can tell you this, most of us will never be faced with making such a decision as that, though it's not impossible. It's not likely that we'll be faced with such a decision. Now, let me ask you this question. What if you just encountered these people that were in terrible need, as you move through life. They needed this drink. They needed some help. And you just come through and you pass by these people and there's very little danger at all. Would you have the courage to help these people? I would imagine that by now you can figure out where I'm going with this. Friends, we pass by people in this life on a daily basis, and their soul is crying out for help. They don't know about Christ. They don't know what their purpose is in life. They don't know how they're going to overcome the struggles and the trials that they have to deal with. If only someone could have some mercy on those people. If someone could show some compassion for those souls that are crying out and in need of help. Would you have the courage to do such a thing? Well, only you know the answer to that question. And if you've not been doing it, I can assure you that you are continuing to pass by those people who are in desperate need. You can give them a drink of water that's so refreshing that it will put them in a state that they'll never need a drink again, at least not a spiritual drink. This is what the Bible has to say in John chapter 4, the words of Christ himself in verses 13 and 14. It says, Jesus answered and said to her, whoever drinks of this water will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. Friends, if you know about Christ, if you are a Christian, you've got something that can bless people beyond anything else that they could ever be a part of. All that you've got to do is recognize when you have these opportunities, just like that Southern soldier, recognize that it's your time. It's your time to step up and share with someone the waters of life. Share with them something that's even better than that comfort that he gave on the battlefield that day. Share with them something that is eternal and everlasting, that can lead them to a home in heaven where all cares and troubles and trials and afflictions are going to be wiped away one day by God. I just want to thank you once again for tuning in to our thoughts. I pray that you'll take these thoughts with you as you go into this week, the rest of your life. Be looking for your opportunity. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure you'll come across someone that needs to hear about Christ. Have the courage to step up and put yourself out there and share Christ with someone. Thank you once again, and I pray that you have a blessed week.